This deep in here, and I know I just made a n- my hate on Zootopia too. From immediately after watching the movie, I'm a certain time thinking I think I'm gonna change my. Just, I'm explaining my mindset going into this movie. For into this movie, I thought it was gonna be not good, or at least meh, because I thought at least it's going to be okay. But I didn't hear many reviews. It wasn't really advertised that well. They've been advertising mostly wicked for good nonsense. I don't have no interest in seeing that movie. But I thought it was going to be nice after watching it. After um seeing a few it okay. I'm gonna stop right there and say it didn't sway my I'm not gonna say it was any good just because somebody else says it was good. I'm gonna give you my honest it was entertaining. I'm gonna give it if you casual watcher, you're sitting there watching this movie, you're going to have fun watching this movie. It's the only movie would I say it's better than the first? Probably. Well, it depends on your take of the first. It's not as heavy handed as the first. So you're going like that. Um, the only thing I'm gonna before I finish you that says, if you haven't seen the movie, I'm gonna make this a spoiler. It's already made a non-spoiler one, sort of. I mean, I didn't say anything that was spoilery, but what I think you can take from it, you'll probably guess. You're getting a real surprise ending here. You know how all these movies go. You're gonna know how this movie ends. But the fact of the matter is this: if you haven't seen the movie, go see the movie first or watching this video. I'm not gonna really spoil the ending, but I'm gonna talk about some things that happen near the end of the movie, but not at the end of the movie. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the bad thing out the way, or at least say the thing that took me out the movie. I think the writers, someone wrote themselves in a corner, or I should say a hole. You know how what people do, they try to do too much, and they wrap themselves to a corner, and they don't know how to get themselves out, and they have to force a MacGuffin in order to happen, in order for them to get out of the situation. Well, that happened in this movie. I don't recall there being magic in this movie. Um, I don't recall there being fire, so there's no reason for his heat vision. I guess they did um, say he was an ordinary snake. What's that mean? I don't know what that means. They didn't establish any magical lore that I know of. They didn't establish that snake has magical powers. They didn't establish that at all. Migration. Yeah. No, I don't. My thing about it was I don't like being able to know where your plot's going before it's into the movie. So it really 5 minutes. Being facetious, but yes, it was that early that I figured out where they were going with the movie. The entire plot. The movie. I knew where they were going. I knew how it was going to end, and I knew the entire basis of the plot. But it didn't make it not good. It just I knew where they were going. Nick and Judy. Nick and Judy. You, it's it. You don't have a problem. You don't have a problem. They always say that they're the best tag team in the tag team division, and you know they lying. At least they made it subtle than most genres in this situation. Because in most, it would have been obvious that they were not meshing well like they're supposed to. They made it so subtle. You can sort of see it, but the people didn't acknowledge that it's there. Let me okay. Nick was overlooked, going to overlook Judy's over optimistic because he knows how she is. So he didn't get too up in his feelings about a lot of stuff that was going on that she was doing, overstepping, being the mouthpiece without letting him have a say. It's like she know you learn it in. And there's a lot of regression in this movie as far as not the main leaders, somewhat, but mostly the supporting cast regression. You should say they still treat them like they're like they didn't just save the city not too long ago. Um, Judy still gets her sort of respect, but it feels more like the time she remember the time in the first one when they started praising her because she uh solved the printer problem, but she really didn't. Yeah, they give him that treat, but ignoring the fox who helped her in this case, helped just as much as she helped solve the case. They didn't do it separately; they did it together. So sh they're praising her as though she did it by herself, and they totally ignoring the fox in the room as though he didn't do anything himself. I don't like it. And it doesn't make sense. First of all, I was just thinking about this when I was leaving. Realistically, police would never put two rookies together. I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. It's usually a veteran and a rookie. Only for training purposes, but the matter is you can't learn about people. You're both rookies. When you with that rookie trainer, you know he just got there and job himself. um, you do on the hand, they wouldn't be giving them serious cases. That's irresponsible. So they did do that right. Um, um, I think I want to point out that their behavior would have probably got them fired off the squad really quickly if it did it in real life. Because police are a hierarchy, like a military hierarchy, and disobedience would, I mean, subordination would get you discharged from the military. I'm pretty sure it would do same in a police force. They probably wouldn't have been so. It, I think he gave them a second chance because they saved the city once. So gave them a second chance. We did not have to. Um, did it cause damage? Even though it did result in an arrest, they did disobey the correct order. It's not like they were shooting down somebody who was going to blow up the city or something. They didn't really need to deal with that. That was a little extra. I'm not thinking he he just was smuggler. That's bad, but he's just a regular smuggler. They would have caught him. She the bad guys, but anyway, um, yes. Yeah, the snake having magical powers out at near the butt end of the movie. I mean, near the climax of the movie. I mean, the important part of the movie where Live for a Snake was kind of threw me off. Like they wrote themselves. Like let's go back to that point. They threw themselves. I could tell they wrote themselves in the hole. They wrote themselves in the hole. They couldn't get themselves out. They know what to, I guarantee you the rest didn't know what to do with this situation. Because if they played out normally without any help, they all of them would have died, and they really would have won. Or I should say the bad guy. Here, um, they should have had him backstab them earlier, like before they got there. He already knew where he needed to go, what he needed to do. I guess he needed them to find the spot. Okay, it just occurred to me that another add up here. It would have been more. Where did the change of heart come out of? Because he showed no sign whatsoever of turning evil. Which you would say that'd be a good thing because that lead to a good old twist. Because it would be super shady if he did start showing signs and people were saying, "How in the world did I notice?" You're not switching. He showed zero signs, but then again, he had very little, despite being in the same place, he had very little screen time. Weird. I mean, really did. He had quite decent because it makes sense. Maybe then again, if you think back on it a little bit, Berber, the fact that he didn't even try to save his partner probably should have been a tell that he was going to turn evil, stabbed him in the back. But then you also think about it, it doesn't make sense. It would have been beneficial for him to end them and then break the machine so they could never find the house. That way, he wouldn't need to do all that. But they did. Why didn't they just destroy the book or replace the book cover? Wait, if the page wasn't even in the book, how did they know? How would the book prove they're innocent? The page and switched it out. But they didn't even need the book. They need the page, the missing page out the book. They need to find the missing page. But apparently the book, what did the book have a map in it that showed where her? Oh yeah, it did. But they need the cover of the book itself. So if they took out the pages and just had the book cover, to a different story. That's all they needed but the book cover. Eat the book cover up. It exposes where her house was. But I couldn't tell you how the bad guys were really well without burying the pretty page. They shouldn't have kept the cover of the book. They should have replaced the cover of the book. Why did they keep the cover of the book? That's the stupidest thing ever. It's made of metal. It's just make an excuse. You had to replace the cover of the book. Say, God damage. That was it's made of metal. Who makes a book out of metal? Yeah, you asked me that. Who makes a book out of metal? I never heard of a metallic book in day of my life. Metallic book. Metal rust is right. Metal's heavy. Doesn't make good for a book. I'm just saying. Would make a book out of metal. I guess apparently snakes. The question is, how did they make the book? With no arms. With their tail. Oh, that's how they did it. But then you get so let's it's good to see Fittick back. Or maybe Fox. Second favorite Fox. He had a small appearance. Scare made appearance with these scenes. Of course. She also yet again did song for the movie. Um, Kronk was in it. Yeah, called Kronk. That's he sounded like. So I knew I heard his voice, the new mayor. Uh, When I heard his voice, I said it was Kronk. That's cute. Sandusburg. You think some people have a hard time describing their previous voices? He did decent sound. So he didn't completely sound like Kronk, but you could tell it's Kronk. Sandusburg. um, what else? It's a pretty good movie. I still know I said in the review that it was all right. It was straight to the DVD. I mean, it could if they did decide to take the streaming, it would be a really good streaming. I think it does straddle the line of being a movie release and a. It's a really good movie. It was entertaining. It was not propaganda. It was not extremely. Nobody can accuse it of being woke. I can say that. First, probably people will be trying to still trying to call it that. Um, who real agenda was here. Thank goodness. I think they've learned that that stuff don't work and it's not really money making. But then again, I don't trust them to keep that that matter of trade deals very long. But it's it was entertaining. I laughed at you. And some joke. It wasn't gut punching. It was not gut punching funny. It, the jokes kind of subdued. I mean, there were some jokes that landed. Some those jokes landed. The falling out didn't make sense if you think about it. In their respect, it wasn't really that cliche. But because it was just like the first falling out, sort of. But then again, he had an actual reason. She did do him wrong, though. Sort of. It it wasn't really her fault. They kind of trapped her into that position. Um, in the first one, they did kind of trap her in that position. They put her in a awkward position. Um, gave her a lot of leading questions. There was no other way to answer that question. Um, so it, I feel it, but I, I do believe she subconsciously fell for the narrative a little bit, but overall, after a while, realizing, hey, it's a lonely world out there. But anyway, now there's people thinking, is Judy, did they solidify Judy in next? They're still playing games. I still think if you, I'm gonna be objective here. I think it's, yeah, they did say she's never been over his house. So, um, he was going that off here because of that, it's like I did. He looks trashy. He looks like a bachelor pad. But um, man, to be honest with you, let's be real here. They're really good friends who happen to be really, really good partners who enjoy them being with each other. Um, joy there. Each other's company. They don't want to be with anybody else. He cares about her, and she cares about him. It sounds like what would make a relationship, but they never really step into that round. So they're really good friends that could probably be good relationship, but they don't step into that. So eh, like a really good buddy cop relationship, friends, friends, best BFFs ever. Why am I hesitant saying that they're really a couple? There's right reason. It is missing a good element that is required for this uh, Disney's signature thing that they usually do when they're signifying that they are actually a couple and not best friends. And practicing, no, no, it ain't that. Um, Nobody, not one of them says LOVE. Oh, actually, yes, they did. But it's not like the usual. It's more like I love you as a friend. It's a friend kind of connotation and not as a I love you. Force that romantic force that love, that kind of love with friend. It's more like love you, bro, kind of vibe. They're never in a romantic setting, and he's like, "Oh, you look good," which is in a dress, but not like more like you look great, but I don't like how you did your hair. And he was spoken for like a friend was spoken for my in the outfit. So that's why I would say there's like no indication that there's a romance in this partnership other than they're just buddies. Sorry to disappoint you. I'm afraid I have some bad news. There is, but doesn't stop you from imagining. I guarantee. That is so furry to imagine that there's a romantic relationship with these two. It's been going on for years. Okay, let them dream. Let them dream. I say, let them dream. But it is really good movies. I'm gonna change my rating to 7. And because I did first time, well, yes, first time I actually sat through post credits, a post credit movie. I didn't all the way through today. That was really the music was on fire. The music was fire. Oh, compared to the first, I think it's better than the first. Even though I don't, the song I didn't really care for the beat of the song, not necessarily the lyrics. Um, it's like I like the lyrics of the first one, but not necessarily the beat. The beat was all right. I like both the beat and the lyrics, but in this one, I just like the lyric, the beat, and the vibe of the music, but not the lyrics of the music. I suppose if that's what it seemed kind of tame. We talked about yeah, there's a little bit of regression in some of the characters. It could have very easily been a redo. But I think God. I don't like the design of snake. Pit vipers don't wear their teeth outside their mouth. Okay, no snake does. It looks ridiculous. And why are they so freaking long? They're like freaking toothpicks. Hey, the snake would die if they lost their fang. He'd be done. They don't grow back. If he's they don't know how snakes' teeth work. They 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 extend and retract back into their mouth. Like, why did they draw him like that? It looks so dumb. It's off. I'm nitpicking his character's not a little bit because I like animals and snakes are. I, I like snakes. I don't want to be around poisonous snakes. But I can guarantee poisonous snakes' teeth are in their mouth. They, they, they bring it over their mouth and their fangs sink down, sink out. exposed in order to sink their teeth in, and they retract back when they close their mouth. Number two, thing about snakes, especially a pet viper, their poison would kill a rabbit within seconds. In seconds, not minutes, not hours, but within a good 2 minutes would kill a rabbit. And they drag that seed out for a long time. Because he was naked. He got hit with the poison. But then again, it wasn't indirectly from the pet viper. It doesn't matter if it's the pet viper venom is extremely safe. It would have killed the rabbit within seconds without the antidote. She should have been DEAD dead before they could even get that thing. She should have been dead. They be holding a funeral for the house. Realistically, they should have been holding a funeral. I don't know why they use a venomous snake. Uh, I need to look up the difference between the venomous and the poisonous snake. I, I'm not mistaken. Poisonous is less lethal than venomous, but because that gives you more time to get the antidote. Get an antidote. It makes zero sense. Makes zero sense. And I still, like I said before, it blew me out when he started freaking glowing without fire. The thing is, he glowed without fire. He did that little thing when he had the fire set up, and he did that little cloud going red, and he warmed himself. That scene makes it. There was a heat source. There was no heat source here. Where did the heat source come from? This is what I'm talking about. Having a MacGuffin out of nowhere, having something happen because you couldn't figure out how to get out of the situation. Effectively, there's no way he would have been able to move. He's the type of snake that's cold blooded in cold. He wouldn't have been able to move. He would have been sleeping with the fishes too. He would have been dead. She would have been dead. The only one alive was the neck. And he would have been dead. Or her. Even the wolf, oh, he was gonna die. He didn't die. But then he fell off, and still living. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. How do you die from falling on snow? Like, they, unless they fell and he landed on it. He got up with just a broken leg, hurt leg. You just said if you fell down there, you all would die. And we did. He saw him fall, and they acted like he was going to die in the beginning. And then they said, "Oh, hey, hold up, he can't die right here. Um, he has to. He can't die right here." But they trap him, they knock him, supposedly. They get to the house, and somehow he gets back after, I guess they didn't knock him out long enough. And I'm like, you know what? This is why I gave my disappointment. But then, oh, the plot was all good. I'm gonna need you to actually watch the movie. I guess they were enjoying the music and got that music got them hyped for this movie. I'm not saying it was bad. Like I said, I give it a 7. But after I think about every little bit of things here in plot of it, maybe I'm picking certain things don't add up, elements don't add up. How do he get the power to heat himself up in cold? And you know how if anybody with brain cells who know anything about reptiles, cold-blooded snakes, no, there ain't no way in the world he's gonna move, able to move being cold. Everything starts shutting down and about snake body once it gets body temperature gets below a certain degree, and he goes into hibernation mode. You something outside force warms him up. So it would make sense if they should have had Since they want to make Judy alive, they don't want to kill Judy off. Give her, since they want to give you so much strength, she could have called over to Snake, pulled him inside, like warmed his body up, whatever left body she had left, and that would make sense. Okay, that would make sense instead of what we got. Some astral magic power looking magic from Disney move that would never work. No, can't get heat source with no heat. But that's my in-depth review of Zootopia 2. Um, it was an enjoyable film for the most part. I'm gonna say it's a great film. I'm not gonna say it's the best film in the world. It's it's a pretty good film, pretty above average film, better than the movies that they've been putting out. And I'm not saying a lot. Compare them to those trash movies. Um, I have yet to see Moana 2, by the way. I have yet to see it. I heard it was not that good. But I think I've seen parts of it. I couldn't get through it. The only one who won it was a rock. Asked for it was a rock. Asked for it. I think Moana really want to told the story it needed to tell. It didn't need a sequel. I mean, but anyway, that is my review of Zootopia 2. Please like and share, subscribe. Check me out on Twitch. And my Twitch is dgaming. Gaming and reviews. Tony with the red, Tony with the orange hair. Um, I do wrestling shows. I record football. I record all kinds of games. Please check out, engage with the community.